higher. If you have a grandchild or even a great-grandchild born after January 1st, 2025, the U.S. government may already owe them $1,000, not a loan, not a tax credit you have to claim later, an actual deposit sitting in an account growing every single day. Higher. And most grandparents I talk to have never even heard of it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what this account is, who qualifies, how the money actually gets deposited, what happens if your grandchild was born before this program started getting attention, higher, and one specific form you can use to check and claim it yourself. Quick context: why this exists. This program is brand new, so let's start from the beginning. 1 year ago, on July 4th, 2025, a law called the Working Families Tax Cuts Act was signed. Higher. Buried inside that law was something called a Trump account, a savings account created specifically for children. Since then, over 6 million children have already been enrolled, and roughly 1.4 million of them have already received real money in their accounts. Higher. This isn't a proposal or something coming soon, it's already happening right now in July 2026. Source: SSA press release, July 2026. What exactly is a Trump account? So what is it, in plain terms? Think of it like a retirement account. Higher. But it starts the day a child is born, instead of the day they get their first job. It works a lot like an IRA, the kind of account many of you may already have for yourselves. Here's who qualifies for the free government money. If your grandchild was born between January 1st, higher, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, and they're a U.S. citizen with a Social Security number, the Treasury Department deposits $1,000 directly into their account. That's a one-time payment, but it's real money, not a promise. Higher. Now, and this is important, the money doesn't just sit in a drawer collecting dust, it's invested. Specifically, it goes into low-cost U.S. stock market index funds, the same conservative, broad-based investments that financial advisors have recommended for decades. Higher. And the government has capped the management fees at a very low rate, so more of the growth stays in the account instead of being eaten up by fees. The custodian bank handling all of this is Bank of New York Mellon, one of the oldest and most established banks in the country. Higher. Let me give you a picture of how this plays out. Say your daughter or granddaughter had a baby this past March. That baby, without anyone doing anything complicated, could already have $1,000 sitting in an investment account. Higher. If that money simply grows at an average market rate over the next 18 years, by the time that child becomes an adult, it could be worth several times that original amount, money they could use for college, a first car, or a down payment on a home. So naturally, higher. The next question is, how does a family actually get this set up? Let's walk through that. How enrollment actually works. There are really two paths here depending on when your grandchild was born. Path 1, brand new babies. Starting this month, higher. Hospitals across the country are updating the paperwork parents fill out right after birth, the same form used to request a Social Security number for the baby. That form now includes a box for enrolling in a Trump account. So for babies born from mid-July 2026 onward, higher, this may happen almost automatically as part of the normal hospital paperwork through a program called Enumeration at Birth Path 2. Grandchildren who were already born before this update, anytime from January 2025 through now. For these families, higher. Nothing happens automatically. Someone has to take one extra step. A parent or legal guardian can file IRS Form 4547. This can be done 3 ways: electronically when filing a federal tax return, through an online IRS account, or by mailing in a paper form. Higher. There's also an official website, trumpaccounts.gov, where families can check eligibility and start the process directly. If you're a grandparent, you likely won't be the one filing this. It has to be the parent or legal guardian, but you can be the one who tells them about it. Higher. In many families, especially with new parents juggling a newborn, this kind of detail slips through the cracks completely, and grandparents are often the ones who catch things like this. But here's the part almost nobody talks about, higher, and it's honestly the most useful part for grandparents specifically. This account isn't limited to just that one-time $1,000 from the government. Family members, including grandparents, can contribute up to $5,000 per year into a grandchild's Trump account. Higher. So if you've ever struggled with what to give for a birthday, a holiday, or a graduation, instead of another gift that gets forgotten in a drawer, this is an option that could actually grow into something meaningful by the time that child is grown. Higher. What happens when the child turns 18? So what happens to all this money down the road? When the child turns 18, the Trump account doesn't just disappear or get locked up in red tape, it automatically converts into a regular IRA in that young adult's own name. Higher. Whatever grew inside it over those 18 years belongs to them, with the same tax advantages as any other retirement account. There's another piece worth knowing about too. Employers are starting to get involved. A growing number of companies, more than 50 at last count, higher, have committed to matching their employees' contributions into their children's Trump accounts. So if your grandchild's parent works for one of these companies, there may already be extra money on the table that the family doesn't even know to ask for. Now, higher. If you're thinking this sounds complicated or I don't want my family to miss out on this because of paperwork, that's completely understandable. The good news is, checking eligibility takes just a few minutes on trumpaccounts.gov higher, and it doesn't cost anything to check or to enroll. If this is the first time you're hearing about Trump accounts, I'd love to know, how old is your grandchild or great-grandchild, and had you already heard about this before today? Leave a comment and let me know. Higher. I read every single one, and it helps me decide what to cover in future videos. Let's quickly recap everything we covered. If your grandchild or great-grandchild was born between January 2025 and the end of 2028, they may already be eligible for a $1,000 government deposit. Higher. Newborns may be enrolled automatically at the hospital going forward. For anyone born earlier, a parent or guardian can file IRS Form 4547 or visit trumpaccounts.gov directly. And as a grandparent, you're allowed to contribute up to $5,000 a year on top of that. Now, higher. A program like this naturally raises another question. Could any of these new savings programs eventually affect your own Social Security benefits or Medicare coverage? That's exactly what I'm breaking down in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed before it goes up.